Welcome to Postcast tonight after the Utah Jazz fall to the LA Clippers as the Clippers outscore the Jazz 34-31 in the fourth to win it by the final score of 107-101. But it was a pretty neat, gutsy night by the Jazz. Derek Favors' foul trouble really crippled the Jazz in the first half of this game. They were down by 7. Favors went out with 2 fouls, didn't return, and by halftime they were down 13. And that was only because Alec Burks had hit a buzzer beater to close out that first half. So they were down by 15 right at the end of the second quarter. The Jazz went on a 13-0 run in the third quarter to get it down to 3 as we headed into the fourth. They played right with them. They tied it on a dunk to Gobert. They did a bunch of great things, and then Chris Paul and Blake Griffin came in and did what Chris Paul and Blake Griffin should do. They're 2 of the 5 best players in the NBA. This is one of the great teams in the NBA, and we saw what veteran greatness is late in games. They made every play. Blake was fabulous.
Yeah, they came in especially late in the quarter, and you can see it in that fourth quarter. They just really showed why those two guys play so well together. As Derek Griffith ended up with 11 points in that quarter and 3 assists there for Chris Paul. But, you know, their presence, the fact that they know how to get to their spots here on the floor and win the basketball game. The youth, and the inexperience of the Jazz, I thought, showed there late in that fourth quarter.
Jazz looked, I kept asking you this on the broadcast, they looked frenetic. They looked frantic. Were they having a hard time with the pressure defense? Were they stressed out, like worried about what was your thoughts on what you saw?
And again, and it's been that way since the Phoenix game when the perimeter defense got just, you know, they attacked them on the perimeter there, and they just don't respond well. You could see that whenever they would run a pick and roll, and even if there was a double pick and roll, the Blake Griffin would step out. He would step way out, you know, and force the Jazz to either put on brakes or reverse and go back the other way, and Blake could get back and cover his man. They just need to find out a way to attack that and make the defense pay. But the defense there of the Clippers, I thought, you know, really what caused them some problems. So you know, you look at the field goal percentage at 53%.
Well, let's dig into that for a second because the Jazz ended up shooting 49% or 47% for the game. They hit 10 threes. It's going to come out as a pretty good night. 17 turnovers is too many. But for the first time all year, we saw someone hedge the pick and roll.
Yes.
And so what that means is when the Jazz run all their picks, the big guys coming out and bothering the ball down there, trapping Trey Burke. He really had a tough night. But by the end of the night, it seems as though they made some growth. They scored 20 points in the first quarter, 23 in the second, 27 in the third, 31 in the fourth. This is the first time we've seen this. Was this a big step for the Jazz in seeing how to run their offense against the team? Because the other thing that's worth noting is the Jazz don't do this, so they don't practice against it.
Yeah, exactly. And that becomes a problem when you don't do it and you have to wait till you meet a team that do it and you struggle with it. So, you know, it's going to be something. This is a work in progress for the Jazz. I mean, defensively is going to be a problem for them right now as they continue to grow. You can see offensively they can get it done. And I don't know if it's going to be – I just get the feeling, David, that scoring is not going to be a problem for most teams in the NBA. The problem is going to be is how can you neutralize your opponent? Because we're seeing right now from every team we play that, you know, teams are starting to score. Every team wants to play an up-tempo style and transition. They're going to get some easy buckets. The three-point shot is a premium for every team that's playing in the NBA. So defensively, if you can neutralize, especially at the right time, you're going to stay in ball games, give you a chance to win.
Focusing solely on the Jazz, Gordon Hayward just brilliant tonight. 27 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He did have 3 turnovers. I think 2 of them came in the fourth quarter tonight, which was a little disappointing. But we're seeing huge growth out of him. And this was a monster night when Derek Favors got in foul trouble and was a non-factor. He picked up the load tonight.
Yeah. And I know we've had this conversation from the day one when Quinn Snyder was hired. Who's it going to benefit the most? And you can see that's how comfortable he is. He doesn't seem to play in a hurry. He knows exactly what to do out there before he passes the basketball, ended up with 5 assists, makes his teammates better. He just does everything that you need out of him out there on the floor, whether he's at the 2-guard position or at the 3. But a great night for him tonight, making him get 19 shots up tonight.
You know what's crazy? It's benefiting the best players.
Well,
Right?
yes,
I
yeah.
mean, Derek and Gordon are our best players.
Right.
They seem to be benefiting the most from it. They're better than our other players right now.
Yeah, and they were here last year, and maybe a little frustrated last year, and so now getting a chance to open them up and give them a chance to excel.
Trevor Booker played well. The whole bench played well. This, I think, is a big thing. You got to remember that traditionally is got a reason why it's kind of in there, is that when you go on the road, your young kids usually really struggle. And so for the Jazz, and usually your bench is never as good on the road as it is at home. For the Jazz to get 18 plus 11, so 29 points off their bench tonight, all of them shooting above 50%, except for Hood, who was 2 of 5, but who cares? He hit 2 threes, so it's a good night. They not only that, they grabbed another 15 rebounds. They had about 8 assists amongst these guys. This was a really strong bench night for the Jazz against a good basketball team in a tough situation. I'm very pleased by that, because that's the weakness on this team. If you can get good bench nights, though, these guys are going to be in games.
You asked me a lot. What do I see? What am I learning? From these guys, and I think that's a good question for Quinn. And I know you ask him that all the time, but Quinn is getting an idea of of a rotation now. He's getting an idea of what players can play together, the strength there of each individual player that he's going to be using. And right now they had 24 assists tonight. That measuring stick for me is 24. That'll keep them in basketball games and to give themselves a chance to win. I'm excited about this year, and I'm pleased with what I'm seeing out of these guys.
Jazz gets 17 and 9 from Ennis. Alec gave him 16, 4 and 3. Alec shot just 4 of 13. Let me see if I can take this question from Australia. This is Philip Maloney. He's from Australia. He's my ambassador to Australia. Hey, mate. He actually tweets out time changes for me of everything. He says, David, you and Matt Harpering work on stuff together a lot, or is he just stealing all of your best work from tip-off? I haven't actually talked to Matt. I haven't actually held a conversation with Matt all year. So if he's getting this stuff, it's either his own or he's stealing it from tip-off. And that's not because we're like mad at each other or anything. It just,
we have our own show.
We have our own show, but also Matt has, he flew in today from Atlanta, so I just didn't see him. So honestly, and we did radio on the road. So if Matt's actually, to Matt's credit, we can give Matt a lot of business about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But to Matt's credit, he researches pretty hard.
He just comes prepared. Absolutely.
And if he listens to tip-off, then he's really smart.
Yeah.
I know.
But that's what he's supposed to do.
I know people who stunningly have now turned to their podcast and subscribed to Locked On Jazz today. I know I can think of somebody who's subscribed to the Locked On Jazz podcast today.
Every now and then.
That guy right there. 77th leading scorer in basketball, professional basketball history. We found that. I just looked that up while we were walking the beach together yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long walk. I haven't walked that long in a long time.
This is great. We walked out of the hotel at like 4, and I said to him, I got to be back by 6:30. And he's like, well, we'll be back by 6:30. I was like, I don't know. We got back at 6:20. All right. Thank you for the question, Philip. Thanks for all your support down in Australia. Thanks to Rabiel. Remember, you can submit your questions every night. Good night for the Jazz. Not a win, but a good night for the Jazz. Wednesday against LeBron. They'll have played the night before against Portland. Friday against Dallas. They'll play the night before against Portland. We get 2 teams on back-to-backs right now. Let's see what we can do at home. Have a good night. Be safe. Jazz fall to the LA Clippers tonight. Final score 107-101.